Skinning and window cuts might look simple, but mess it up and you'll regret it fast. Get the placement wrong and you'll choke off airflow, ruin your layout, or end up sweating through every summer night. Seal it wrong, your first storm's gonna teach you the hard way. Today we're skinning the dirt turtle and cutting in windows. And every move matters because it isn't about looking good, it's about surviving real miles, real weather, and real nights off grid.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are now ready to start sheeting and skinning the outside of this with ACM paneling. And there is a reason I'm using ACM. There's actually two reasons. One, it adds a little bit of structural integrity when we're driving through the woods, and branches are hitting this thing and whatever. I don't want, if we were to do a fiberglass skin or, even an aluminum thin sheet metal skin, I'm worried that branches would damage it almost immediately. So instead we're using an 1/8 inch ACM panel. And as you can see, it's a piece of aluminum on this side, painted white, piece of aluminum on this side, painted white. And then in the middle, there's this black plastic. And so when you cut this, it pretty much cuts, just like anything else, it cuts like a plastic. You really can't tell there's aluminum there because it is a thin veneer, essentially, of aluminum on each side. This side's a little more rough cut. I don't know what happened to this guy. I think somebody tried to cut it with a router or eat it with their teeth. I'm not sure. You can see it's high gloss finish on one side and it's a satin finish on the other side. So if you were using this and trying to keep that finish, this is also really nice for if you're applying graphics. So if we do decide to add some kind of cool graphics to the outside of this, it should look really nice. You'll see the seam line where the panels match up, but I don't really care. Now, this stuff's pretty easy to work with. It cuts nice, and it also takes a rivet or a screw pretty well. So what we're doing is we're going to go cut a panel. We're going to start on the bottom because in my opinion, it's going to be the hardest one to do. So I want to do the hardest one first, get it out of the way. So I'm going to do the bottom, glue it all up with adhesive, and then stick it up there and throw some rivets all around the perimeter and down the center. To put a notch in these for these tubes so the panel will slide in and we'll have a nice tight fit around here. Since I'm working on this alone and I got to put a panel up there and I can't possibly hold it all by myself, I thought about this and I made these guys, which will swing in here and be able to support that panel. So hopefully that'll hold it until I get a couple rivets up front and a couple up back here, and should work pretty good. I think that'll work. So yeah, these will just swing in there and go like that, and they'll hold the panel up there until I'm done, and then I can take those screws out. And then for the front one, I'll lower this lift down and just hold it up with the lift. So should work okay. All right, well, we got a lot done today. Got the front panel, all the underside panels, that panel there, and then under the floor, which you saw, and there's one panel done up on the roof. So I'm actually out of ACM now, so gonna have to order some in tomorrow. And then I don't know if they have it in stock or not, but it might be a day or two. But get a panel here, the back panel, and then a couple of roof panels, and this thing is pretty much skinned at that point. So moving along. This ACM really worked out well. It adds a lot of structure to this unit too, which is really nice. So very solid now. It's pretty awesome stuff. Listen to that. Just dead thuds. Got that glue. Once that glue sets up all the way, it's really going to make a nice structural piece with that foam in between. probably thinking I'm using a lot of adhesive, and that's true, and it's because I was able to buy all of this adhesive from a company that bought way too much of it, and so they were selling it for 80 cents a tube, and this stuff's normally like $10 a tube. So at 80 cents a tube, I bought 48 tubes, so we're gonna use them. Well, this first panel really looks nice. It actually fit really well around these things too. I was able to pretty much just measure it out, and then, I mean, you obviously saw I set it on those wood blocks. And I'm gonna try to get these panels done. I gotta trim that piece, I gotta trim these pieces around the window here. Got this arc on the inside which fits to the window. I'm just trimming these blocks to match that. One of the other things that I can do now is remove these supports. Since the roof panel is glued to the foam and the foam is glued to the interior panel, everything should be nice and sturdy now. I wanted to give it a couple of days, and it had a couple of days to cure. So I'm gonna pop those out of the way and we'll have our open space in there again. I've been working on a few different ideas of this front mount plate and how we're gonna put a support beam right here. And I came up with what I think is a pretty good idea. So I'm gonna use a piece of DOM tubing that will slip through here on the aluminum. So we got an aluminum tube here, and then we've got a drop leg that'll go into the aluminum tube. So essentially we'll put the drop leg down, and then this tube will slide over the drop leg, so that's adjustable. And then this is obviously going to be a little longer. I had to order the pipe. Then this piece will be welded here with a pin in it. I think that's going to work out really well. Gives us a lot of adjustability. And then when we crank these up or down, this thing will slide inside this collar, and then we don't have to worry about having a crank up here. We just have to have some support when it's sitting, and you know, if there's people up here in the bed area, I want to make sure it doesn't tip forward. I think it has enough weight back here that it's not going to be a problem when we're loading and unloading the unit off of the ATV. And I should have welded these on before I did all the foam and stuff, so I blocked this off with a piece of cardboard and some aluminum tape so I can weld that tube here and not catch the foam on fire. Well, I just realized I got a small issue. The issue is if I mount this to the steel, it's at the same level as what the paneling is going to be, which would put it right at the edge, because this tube and the paneling that's going to go on here is the same thickness. Now, it doesn't really seem like a problem, but it is, because if my tube comes sliding up through there, it's going to scrape that panel every time it goes in and out. So I think that a solution to that would be to use a piece of plate, weld the plate to the tube here. That'll give me a really good spot to weld, to put a couple of holes in here, and then I can weld this plate to that plate. It'll space it out 1/4 of an inch so it doesn't rub on the outside finish, because I don't want it to scrape the RV all up. And it'll be easier to get a good weld. You know, it'd be harder to weld this groove inside of here than it would to weld this to this and weld a nice weld right there. Well, I shot some black paint on these, and now I just need to put some caulk in those seam lines here where the metal meets up, and then I'll be able to skin this out and get that finished up. It looks pretty good, pretty happy with it. It's gonna work well. Well, that was a long day, but got this whole side done. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Pretty excited about it. I'm always excited about it when it's like, you know, like almost done. It's not almost done, but it's close. Let's check it out real quick. This panel's worked out really well. Now, I overcut this one by like 1 inch all the way around because I wasn't 100% sure that I could make it perfect enough to not do that. But then I just came back through with the little air saw and cut it out. Now you can see it's not like 100% perfect cut. Well, that's mostly just the plastic on here, but I mean it's not 100% perfect, but it's getting a trim piece that goes over here. So it's like a piece of angle aluminum that'll cover all of the seams, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I did get it as close as I could because I like to. I need to cut the window out. Window. And then this piece right here, I'm gonna trim this and I'm gonna build a filler little triangle in here. I need to rivet a piece of like angle aluminum in here so that I have something to butt that triangle up to. But I'll do that a little bit later, and that'll just make it nice and finished looking, because I didn't want to see that bar. I don't know. You can see that one over there. It just doesn't look good. I do still need to decide what I'm doing for the outside finish of this. I got to do something. I haven't decided what it is yet. I don't know if I'm going to wrap it or if I'm going to do a bed liner material. But I'm still debating on, you know, how that's going to go down. So I guess we're going to find out. I'm going to check some prices on some different things because I'm trying to stay in budget. I know we're a little bit over budget right now, but we're not crazy over budget. And I'm just trying to keep with it a little bit. So hope you guys are enjoying this. This is the fastest I've ever built something of this magnitude in my spare time. So look who I got in the shop today. I think this is like day 18 of working on the RV build.
Day 3 for me.
Yeah, day 3 for Brandon. You know, he's back. I don't know why he keeps coming back, but he likes working on it with me. So we're going to try to jump in on this together and get the skinning done. It'll probably be a lot more easy with a little bit of help. So I'm glad that Brandon's here. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching us sheet this other side. So we decided we really needed a power cord going up into that cabinet up there, so we can do an under cabinet light under here later. So we're adding one in, which just meant we had to cut a groove and run a new piece, but pretty easy. Before we skin it up, obviously, is the best time. So Brandon's gonna wire that up.
Oh, it's brand new. Look at the finish.
So glossy. The reason there's no foam right here is because we're waiting to get our power supply in, power bank. And until then, I don't know what we want to do with the wiring in this area. So once we get the actual power bank put in here, then we'll add the insulation in here. But we could put the walls and stuff on right now. It doesn't matter. Look at that nice squish. So you know we got a good seal. Got plenty of it squishing out.
Yeah, that means it's working.
That means it's working good. Love this rivet gun. This thing has saved me so much effort. Look at that. So easy. Okay. This is the more important leg.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There we are.
Elevation.
Back to safety. Okay, all I really need is those 2 holes, and then I can take this and locate this on the other side. All right, so if you look real close, there's 2 holes, one right there and one right there. And this is the side window piece. Now, this was located like this, so it'll have to go face that direction because otherwise it would be off. So it'll face this direction, throw a couple of screws in it to hold it up there, and then I can trace around it. Now, if I did this right, that should be where our window is. If I did it wrong, that's not a good thing. Now I'm just gonna put I'm gonna put a hole for my air saw, just a starter hole, and I'm gonna put it just up a little way so I can cut down to my opening. Okay, we didn't hit anything, so that's a good sign already. So what I'm gonna do is come in with the air saw, cut right against the inside edge of this line, and that should be the right size for our window. Also like to point out I'm using that fine blade. I got all the windows installed. Got one of the access doors installed. I have the main door ready to install. Everything's cut and fitted. Just got to get it put in. And then there's the other window that we mounted. But yeah, looks good. I also trimmed out all of the interior of the windows. So everything has a nice bezel, trimming it out. I'm just wiping all the aluminum down. It's got a little bit of cutting fluid on it from when they trimmed everything. But I will say one of the cool things is you can see these are all different lengths, and that's because we had Metal Supermarket cut everything more or less to size. Now I did have most of them overcut by about an inch, and that'll allow me to fit these together, properly. But the nice thing about having it pre-cut is I'm already really close to the size. But the other thing is I'm not paying for a bunch of material that I'm just cutting off and throwing away. So if you needed a 7-foot 3-inch piece, then you can order just a 7-foot 3-inch piece. You're not having to pay for 8 foot of it when you didn't need 8 foot of it. So that's kind of a nice thing too. But it's really nice just to go pick something up and it's more or less ready to install. And that's one of the reasons we like dealing with Metal Supermarkets, is because they make it really convenient and they make the project go a lot faster, saving me a little bit of time and obviously a little bit of money too. It's not cheap silicone, I just got it for cheap.
Hooray for surplus inventory.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually like $9 a tube. Since we've used like 34 tubes so far. It's a good thing we got a good deal on it. As you can see, I'm going right over the head of these, just in case they were ever to leak. They won't be able to now. Bam.
Ting, ting, ting. Nice.
More up front.
Look at that. That's it. That's it. We're done. That's finished.
Looks really nice.
Pack it up. Shut her down. Finished product there, boys.
I wish.
That's the best corner trim I've ever seen any.
Best corner trim I've seen done on a mini RV.
Okay, that's probably facts.
I would have to say it's going pretty well. Looks nice too. You walk them around there and show them, it looks good.
This turned out pretty excellent. I got a nice clean seam on the edges here. We did the attachments on the top side so that way it gives it a nice seamless on the outside. Can't see any of the rivet heads on the outside.
And everything's sealed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Siliconed up tight.
So we got like half the trim done. What do you think, Brandon?
I'm digging it.
You think we did a good job?
Once we do the peel, it's going to look totally different because you get that protective layer with all the purple stuff off of it.
Yeah, everybody's probably wondering, like, why didn't we just peel all this off? Mainly because we're using silicone to seal the aluminum angle on here. And we don't want silicone on the rest of this because we're planning to do a graphic of some type or vinyl wrap. So what we've done is we came in here with a razor knife and cut back just enough plastic to mount this and get it sealed onto there. But then we're not touching this until we're ready for the next phase and we figure out what we're going to do. But we got the top trim on, we got some of the bottom trim on, we got one of the verticals on, and we realized that we're missing a couple of pieces that I forgot to order. So I placed that order, probably going to have that tomorrow, so we'll come back and button up the rest of this corner trim. But man, it looks nice. We've really fitted it up well. I mean, the gaps are excellent. Like, it looks super, super clean. Very happy with how this is turning out. Got all of the trim done except for one, well, technically two pieces, but it looks awesome. Look at how nice that trim fits. Everything's trimmed out. Inside, bottoms, top, all the way up to the front. Two front pieces are not here yet. Got to have them custom bent, so they're going to be a custom. They're not 90 degrees. Obviously, so gonna get those bent tomorrow. But yeah, this trim work turned out really nice. Looks super clean. So yeah, that's what I did today. Got all that done, and we're ready pretty much to get that front piece done, and then I'm gonna assemble the rest. The only reason I haven't put the door on is because I figured it'd be easier to build out the inside without having to deal with messing with that door. So tomorrow I'm going to have that aluminum bent. If it's not here in time to actually work on it tomorrow, I'll probably start working on the inside. Like, I'm excited to do the inside, so the outside, I'm kind of bored with it, to be honest. I've been working on it for a while now. Brandon's helped with, shoot, a lot of the outside.
For any two-person job.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem when I'm working alone. Ryan's not here, but he's going to be back here in a couple of weeks, and I hope to have this thing more or less ready to rock and roll. Other than he's going to do the wiring for all the power bank stuff, battery, solar, all that stuff. So I'm going to let him handle that because that's not my gig. But yeah, we got a bunch of projects in the shop trying to finish up some stuff. That's what we're up to. That's where we got. And we will see you on the next one.
Right on. Peace out.